What is going on, fam? Welcome to the JMH audio experience. Yes, I completely ripped that name off from Gary Vee, but you know what? He knows a lot of things and I'm okay with it. I think he'd be okay with it. So this is the JMH audio experience, and specifically today we're having convos with Dad. I think that's what I'm gonna end up calling these talks that we have. So with me, I have my father. We call him Father Beard. His name is Michael Howell. He's been in the music industry for the past 20 years, just an excellent producer, an excellent artist. I'm in a band with him and my entire family called the New Soundist Family. He is a gold record awarded producer. He's just amazing. And most of all, and most importantly, he's my dad. So welcome
Thank
to
you.
this.
So good to be here in your beat lab.
Well, I learned how to make one from you, so.
And you said you guys call me Father Beard, but the reason for that is sometimes there's a very large white beard here.
That's true.
It's
I just
currently
realized
shaved off.
I provided zero context for that.
That's all right. They don't have to know why.
Yeah, what I'm thinking about for these podcasts, these audio things, I know if you're watching us, obviously, you're not listening to us solely, you're also watching us. These are just going to be real off-the-cuff conversations because I think that's how you get the most real, impactful content. So it's not really noted. I mean, I have jotted down here on my iPad some things we're going to talk about, but mainly we're just going to start off with a topic and we're just going to kind of roll with it. And today's topic that we're talking about is being you in the music industry. Being you in the music industry, and just some ideas and thoughts on why that's so important. Something that hits my head right off the bat is, you know, with the rate of content, music content that people are putting out today, there's about I think it's like 5,000-6,000 songs that Spotify gets every single day. I could be way off on that. It could be a lot more. But the point is, there's so much music, there's so much content coming out every single day on every music platform that it makes it even more important today than ever in history to be you. And I think like right now we're in such a hype chasing culture that everyone, instead of just trying to figure out who am I as an artist, everyone is just hopping on a trend. They're hopping on, you know, some sort of breakout thing that has happened on social media or TikTok, or everyone's following the hype. And you could hear that in a lot of your friends' music and a lot of my friends' music, and not just my friends, but just new undiscovered artists. There's kind of like a few different veins. One's like the I'm going to try to make a Justin Bieber song with like every fiber inside my being side of it. And then there's like the I'm going to try to make a song that sounds exactly like this other hip hop song. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's who you are as an artist. If you just happen to have that sound of Justin Bieber and you're putting out music like that, there's no shame in that. But what I'm seeing is there's just so many artists today that aren't even trying to discover who they are. They're just trying to get a hit, and doing music for the purpose of just trying to get a hit is always going to make what you're creating less and less authentic. And we were talking about that the other day, about just how whenever the goal is not to express yourself any longer, and whenever it's just to like hop on hype, hop on a trend, try to get the most streams, trying to get more monthly listeners, the music, like, I'm sorry, it just turns out less good, you know? Because it doesn't come from a place of authenticity.
Yeah. I looked it up, by the way. It's 40,000 songs a day.
Sweet. So I was way off. Hashtag fake news.
That equates to 1.2 million tracks a month. I mean,
oh my God.
Just an idea of why what you're talking about is so important today. You know, in the music industry that I grew up in, the way to get music was to go to the record store and buy whatever came into the record store on that Friday. And so to even have a record that got to the music store, you had to have a record deal. So there was a limited amount of music, which could be a bad thing in one regard, but that music went through some level of a vetting process before it got to the masses. Yeah. Now nothing gets vetted and everything is just like, throw it on the wall and
hope it sticks.
See what sticks. And there have been some really cool things like Post Malone, you know, he's like uploaded a track one night and the next day he gets up and he's an international.
But even like
phenomenon,
him, even Post Malone was so in his own genre.
Totally.
Like, it's like, is he a rap artist? Is he
I think that's why it was different.
Yeah.
And really, I can't talk about something like this without talking about the creator. You guys probably know that John Michael's a believer and I'm a Christian, obviously. And when I think about the work that God put into making us all an original, when you think about how many people are on the planet right now, how many billion, 9 billion or something like that.
Almost 8 billion.
Almost 8 billion people. Then all 8 billion of those people, there's a different set of fingerprints on every one of those people. There are no two people that have the same DNA on Earth. Everybody is different. And so really discovering yourself through that filter and through that lens is a part of really learning how to authentically be yourself.
Yeah.
I do agree with what you're saying as far as being an artist. Learning how to be influenced by something. Like I'm a huge U2 fan. There's
of course.
I'm influenced by so many different genres of music. I love Springsteen. I like a lot of pop stuff too. We just finished an 80s pop playlist in the backyard around the pool earlier. But learning how to be influenced by something and kind of add that to your arsenal of what your expression is as an artist. And always keeping that the goal, always looking at why am I doing this the way that I'm doing it? Am I doing it to create a true expression of what the creativity that's on the inside of me, or am I doing it just to be popular? Or
I literally just made a track that you, along with everyone else in my family that I've played it for, is like, this sounds pretty different from anything you've ever released. But for me, it was like, the track is talking about authenticity and being yourself and not changing yourself because someone disagrees with you. But like, even like in that song, it's just like, that's just something that like, if you listen to that song and listen to popular music, it's like, where does that fit in? It's like, well, it doesn't really fit into what we've heard, yesterday or we've heard today, but it's like me expressing myself. I think like, it's really interesting what you were just talking about authenticity is and having influences. I think it was John Mayer. He was talking about how whenever you finding your sound is whenever you take all your biggest influences and you try to make your music sound exactly like them, and then you fail at it. Then you figure out who you are as an artist. And it's just interesting, like how different each person is. I was talking to my grandma yesterday. My grandma she's an awesome minister of the gospel. We all respect and love her very much in this family. And I'm helping her right now with some stuff she's putting out about the blood of Jesus. And so I was just kind of talking to her about, how marketing is kind of working today with like the very limited marketing knowledge that I work. And I told her, I said, whenever you're finding your audience, you're finding your tribe, they're going to be people like you. And she would kind of like had this like blank, like weird face on. She was like, what? Like people are just, I don't want to find people like me. I'm like, why? What are you talking about? And she's like, well, people like me already know the information that I'm trying to help people with. And I'm like, no. You're not trying to find you. You're trying to find someone that's like you. And the thing is all of our influences, all of our life experience, whenever all of that's added together, it becomes that person. Like no one's life experience is the same as anyone else's. We all have experience. We all have things that we've been through, things that we've gone through. Our friend groups are always going to be different than somebody else's, at least slightly. All of those things come together to culminate and to make and shape who you are. And I tell this to you guys and the people who are following me all the time, that you are the only you that exists. And there's a reason that you exist. I mean, I believe, because I'm a Christian, fundamentally, there is a reason and there is a purpose that you are on this earth. But that's because you have a story that literally no one else has. You have experience that nobody else on the entire face of the planet has. So we need you here on this earth because we need your story. Other people need your story. You may not know it yet, people may not express it around you that they even care about you or your story, but the reality is there are people that aren't you, that are like you, that need to know that they're not the only one going through this situation. They're not the only one who thinks this way, that they're not the only one who believes this way. And that's why it's so important to be authentic and not just follow the grain for the sake of following the grain. Like you're saying, there's a difference between being influenced by something and then trying to replicate something. So like, I don't know how many writing sessions I've sat down in, especially in, the Christian gospel genre of music. For those of you that don't know, I put out both mainstream music and Christian gospel music. So I'm both influenced and involved in both pretty equally. But almost every time that I've sat down in a group to write a Christian gospel record, I usually hear something like this. We'll be somewhere in the writing process. We'll be through a verse, or maybe we just got our chorus, and like someone in the group will say, "I don't know if this is the next No Longer Slaves," and like I will never voice it right then, but in my head I'm like, automatically it's like, why am I so angry right now that I just heard that? I'm like,
You're getting to voice it now.
I'm voicing it now. I'm like, of course it's not the next No Longer Slaves. No Longer Slaves has already been like freaking written. Like we don't need another No Longer Slaves. We need something new. That song's already been accomplished. That story's already been written. That book's already been written. Write something that pertains to us, that's unique about us. And I think you talk about this a lot, being in writing sessions with people you don't know, and why it bugs you whenever you get put in writing sessions with a whole bunch of strangers.
Well, it's not. I think that. Well, I'll just say it this way: everything great that's ever happened in my life has happened because of a relationship. Every great opportunity, everything that has kind of taken me to the next level has been because I was connected to someone in a actual relationship. I believe that relationships are everything, and for me, it is harder to just walk in the room not knowing, totally cold, don't know this person at all, don't know anything about their life. Now, it's different if I like have an acquaintance or somebody that I know, like, oh, you guys would really click. I remember getting to be in on a writing session with Jenny Riddle once, who wrote Revelation Song, but it's like I knew who Jenny was. It was a little easier, obviously, to just be in that room and learn from her in that process. But I think that there needs to be some kind of, can't walk in the room and just start. For me, it's harder to do that
there
because
has to be the conversation that happens before.
Yeah. So the conversation, the connection that's there beforehand, I think is important. I want to comment on something that you were saying about authenticity, and I was hearing this phrase, and I've actually do a talk sometimes on the power of authenticity, like the secret power. I kind of think that's what you're saying, is that when you tap into that authenticity, the real you, you tap into that secret power that's there. And I think about, when I think about music and the comment you made about writing the next No Longer Slaves, is that true for you? Is what you're writing, is what you're creating the truth for you? And I had this thought, like, have you ever been lied to? Like, either someone, you knew they were lying while they were lying to you, or you just knew that what they were saying was a lie. Like a lie, we have this built-in thing where all humans, pretty much, for the most part, can tell when somebody's lying to you. Right. You can feel the energy in the room changes, and you think to yourself, I think they just lied to me. Or I know they just lied to me, because you know the circumstances behind what they're saying. Well, my point is, the truth just sounds different to people. Right. When you write something or create something, create art, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if it's true for you and it's a true expression of where you are in that moment in time, it sounds different to people, and people connect to it. And that's why it doesn't work just to have a Monet and go like, oh, look at this Monet that I painted. Look, it looks exactly like the original. It's not the truth. It's a fake. And so as we're creating, as creators, or or as being an artist, and how you represent yourself and how you market yourself, the way that your art looks, all that needs to go through the filter of, is this me?
Right. And something that I think will come out of that is this is why I think why this whole thing boils down to this is being you. And I don't think that sentence I just said made any sense at all. This is why all this is so important. That's what I meant to say, is because being you at some point, if it's not the most popular thing right now, you're gonna eventually find that people group, or that people group's gonna find you.
Yeah, it'll come around.
That thing will come around. I think about, like, my biggest song right now would not even classify as a, like, technical pop complete, like, it doesn't fit every single rule in a pop context. It fits a lot of them, but not all of them. And I say that because my biggest song is Sky's Not the Limit, and it's like a 6/8 ballad with a guitar solo in it. Mm-hmm. Like, name one.
Whose idea was it to put a guitar solo in there?
This guy. Don't leave me hanging.
Oh, I thought you were pointing at me.
Abandoned by my dad on the fist bump.
I thought you said this guy.
No.
I didn't want to pull your finger.
This guy.
Okay.
No, but, like, name one song that's in the top 50, top 100, or top 200, or maybe even top 500 or 1,000. Name any other song that came out in the past 2 years that's in 6/8 that has a guitar solo in it. And right now, it's my biggest song. It's not like it's the biggest song in the entire world, but for me,
in your world, it is.
In my world, it's my biggest song. And kind of like on that note, one of our friends, actually mutual friend, more so my dad and my mom's friend than mine, but I call her Aunt Sylvia, but she's a family friend, and she sent me this video.
Uncle Rob's wife.
Uncle Rob. For those of you that don't know Uncle Rob, don't Google Uncle Rob, because I don't know what will come up. But his name is Rob.
That would actually be a good stage name for him.
Yeah, it would. We have a friend named Rob
also
Wertz.
An amazing record engineer, producer,
one of his
songwriter.
literally one of his first things he did in music was he got a co-write on an Al Green record.
Al Green song.
Like, what even? He's amazing.
Reverend Al Green. Yes, that Al Green.
Him and my dad have been friends since before I think you and my mom even met. Right? Yeah. So, and his wife, Aunt Sylvia, Sylvia Wertz, sent me this video that Andy Mineo put out, and I think you guys are really gonna like it. So I'm just gonna play it over this mic and hope y'all can hear it well.
He's holding a shoe.
He's holding a shoe. I'm gonna hold this up to the
very old Nike shoe.
I'm gonna turn the brightness down so they can actually be able to. Yeah, that will work.
Hey, quick thought for y'all, man. These shoes right here are going right now on Grailed for like $1,500. I've seen other ones for like $700, and then used beat up ones for like $2 something. The point is, I bought these sneakers at a Marshalls for $15 like 8 years ago. I also bought a pair of white and green ones and a pair of white and yellow ones. They were all $15. Sometimes I go through Marshalls and I look in the racks because of that reason. And they got like sneakers or things that people are giving away, or anyways, there's come ups in there. It's just like thrifting. And it's funny to me, it just gave me this thought. I wanted to encourage y'all with this. I bought those sneakers for $15 and they jumped like 1,000% in the price and in the evaluation. And why? It was just over a period of time there became an appreciation for that thing. But that shoe never changed. That shoe is exactly the way it was when I bought it 8 years ago at some random spot. But now people are coming around and seeing the beauty of it. So I want to take a moment to just encourage artists and creatives and people that have been doing their craft and they think it's beautiful, they think it's dope, and they're doing something special and unique and that they're proud of. You don't have to change who you are in order for people to recognize how dope you are. A lot of times culture needs to catch up to where certain artists or people are, and I think if you continue to always chase trends, you'll end up always being a little bit behind.
So that's a video that she sent me, and she was sending it just as an encouragement, like, just keep being you. But I love that video because that, like, for me, that put all these emotions I had around being authentic together in one piece, in one coherent piece of content. He's exactly right. Those shoes, like, whenever he bought them, were literally worth $15. He said he was at Ross or Marshalls, right?
Does that make you want to go to Marshalls and
Makes me want to. Yeah, let's go start investing in shoes right now. Flipping shoes is going to be the next thing. But But the point is that over the course of time, those shoes never change. You never have to change who you are. Of course, you'll get inspired and you'll grow. Growing is much different than changing at the core who you are. You grow into a better attitude. You grow into, in your case, being a better husband. It's not about changing at the core who you are as a person, what makes you unique and what makes your personality the way that it is. And eventually, people are going to start to appreciate you for who you are. So that really just, boom, that needs to just sit there. Yeah, that needs to just sit there for a second. And maybe I think this is kind of a cool story that's just about not following a trend or not following where there may be peer pressure just for the sake of it and just doing your own thing. And I thought we could maybe end this.
On the story. On that subject, I mean, it's huge today because there's so much pressure to jump on the bandwagon. I mean, I don't care what it is. There's pressure to any kind of social, anything happens, and there's pressure automatically. Everybody's got to post about it. Everybody's automatically got to get on go with the crowd. And we've really become a people that are just followers. It's like, man, where are the leaders?
Right.
And look at who we're allowing to lead us. The people that are, don't get me started on like the mainstream news and stuff, but it's like people literally in an age, this is really sad, when there is so much resource of actual true information.
Let me go, hang on. Pause that thought. I'm going to restart this video because it timed out. All right, keep going. Okay. Culture, information. Ready? Yeah, go ahead.
In this culture, and this is really sad because in this, right now, there's more access to information than there's ever been if we just take the time to find out. But instead, we choose to believe whoever says about whatever. And it's so funny how the facts get skewed. And it's sad because it's shaping culture and it's building culture on lies, on things that are actually historically untrue and otherwise. And so we're already kind of set up to be followers. But my encouragement would be, yes, we all should be good followers, follow leadership and, your pastor, spiritual leaders, follow the right people. Yeah, look at their life. Don't follow somebody you don't know. Look at their life and follow someone has the character and family and character is everything. Who you are as a person, and that character should be visible in your family and your job and your life. Yeah. And
then there's a story of the Bible where it talks about knowing a tree by its fruit. You shall know a tree by its fruit. And I believe it's whenever Jesus is talking about there will be false prophets, there will be false teachers, there will be heretics that come, but you'll know the tree by the fruit that it's producing. And so I think whenever it comes to, because we don't want a whole nation of rebels, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not also at the same time supposed to, like, just for the sake of being different than everyone else, go against the grain at all costs for every reason possible. We're talking specifically about your artistry. And whenever it comes to, you want to be a good follower and you want to, you don't want to be that person that's so rebellious and counterculture that like no one cares about what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The purpose.
It goes back to the why. Why are you doing what you're doing?
Right.
And so really keeping that at the forefront of your mind helps keep you centered and keeps you operating from that place of authenticity.
Right. And like, trying to be counterculture as a part of your identity. That's just a riot when it boils down to. That's just a riot. I just think like it's a fine line because like I was saying, you know a tree by its fruit. So it's like you want to follow the people that you can look at their life and look at the contents of their life, look at what they're coming out with, the relationships they have with other people, the quality of their life, and you can be like, that's something that I need to follow. And I think, to your point, there's a lot of just blind following, just for the sake of popularity. Like what have I heard a million times in the music producer community? I'll turn on YouTube and here's an ad. and on this auto tune, we have this Travis Scott preset. You know, it's like I literally have heard every auto tune that comes out today. All of them have a Travis Scott preset, and that's always what they talk about. But the reason is because everyone's trying to be like Travis Scott, and like you can listen to Travis Scott and think and learn from that, and you know, people can absorb different things and elements from that. But it's like, why would you just by default put on the Travis Scott setting, you know?
Yeah.
Just because you want your voice to sound exactly like he does.
Don't be a clone.
Don't be a clone. Don't be a clone.
God, back to that whole thing, you know, God created us all different, and we should really, our differences and our uniqueness should be celebrated. You know, where you're from and your culture and all that is something. It's really cool that there's so many different cultures. I've been all over the world. I've been with all different kinds of cultures, all different kinds of people, and it really is a beautiful thing. And I think that we need to really just embrace that and be conscious of our individuality and making sure we're allowing that to come to the forefront. And you know, we talked about being a good follower. You know the person that you follow. Just because some pastor of a mega church, and I got lots of friends that are that, but just because they throw out a tweet or a post, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's how that you live your life by their words. What does the Word of God say? What's your personal conviction about that? Because he may be right and you may be opposed and have a different conviction, and you can both be right at the same time.
Yeah.
That's what being an individual is all about. And so you do have to be a good follower, follow the right people, but you also have to lead yourself. And I know in my life, you know, as a young writer and producer, I guess I was probably about your age, actually maybe a little younger than you are right now. And I remember going to Gospel Music Week in Nashville and just meeting all my heroes. I got to meet everybody that I grew up thinking that they were amazing. And there are some amazing people in the Christian music world. But as I started to get into those circles, I began to see that there was like in some sects of that sect, SECTS, sect,
Not to be confused with other stuff.
in some areas and groups and veins that broke off of that, there were pressures to live away and indulge myself in lifestyle choices that were counter to what my conviction was. And it was almost like, if you want to get ahead and really be a part of this community, because some of these people were heavy hitters. They were some big songwriters and producers and artists. There was pressure there to like, you know, do this thing or go to this place or take part in this.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
In this extracurricular activity. And I just couldn't do it. I literally had to just stand on my own 2 feet and go like, that's you know, that's your choice. That's not mine.
It's almost like people who have these strong convictions, especially like hardcore Christians in Hollywood or in LA, it's almost like that's frowned upon as something that's limiting somebody. When the reality is, I believe it's the exact opposite. Your convictions contribute to what makes you unique and what makes you great. And I was talking to one of my friends the other day who we were talking about songwriting philosophy. And he's a really good friend of mine, and he had written this lyric in this song where I was just telling him, I was like, it's not that I morally disagree with the lyric that's being written here. It's that I just don't think it's you. I've never heard you say anything like this. I just don't think it's you, man. And we started talking about it, and I told him, I said, bro, what's more impressive? If you're going bowling, but instead of being able to just hit 12 pins, you have pins surrounding you in every direction. Anywhere you swing the bowling ball, you're bound to get 12 pins down. If you're surrounded by pins, it's not impressive hitting a strike. But what is impressive is whenever you're not surrounded by pins, whenever you have that stretch of land and there's only 12 pins narrowly at the end of that bowling alley. If you bowl a strike then, it's way more impressive. It's way more impressive.
I don't know that I've ever heard a good bowling analogy until now.
It's way more impressive to hit a strike whenever you only have 12 pins versus to hit a strike when you got 100 pins. I mean, like, there's this game on the Wii, or there's a bowling game on the Wii. There's this game on the Wii called Bowling. Have you ever heard of it? No. But one of the rounds on the bowling game is you have like 100 pins. I don't know why, but it's like, and you're just for fun, just bowling. No one's impressed when you knock down 12 pins whenever there's 100 pins at the other end. But what's impressive is whenever there's only 12, you stay in your lane, you obey your convictions, and then you hit those 12 pins.
Yeah, having good parameters for yourself is a smart thing. Like having boundaries for you. Like there may be certain convictions you have even in your artistry. Like I won't ever go here as far as like subject matter or lyrics or profanity or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
That are good because that keeps you.
Yeah, it does. Like name one pop artist that's in the top 100. No, let's not say top 100. Yeah, let's say top 100. Name one artist, and this is homework if you actually want to go do it. Name one artist in the top 100 on Spotify who hasn't written a song with explicit content in it. And I'm not saying that to shame other people. I'm saying that to say, what would it be like if you found the one artist in that 1 in 100 who just didn't? Who just obeyed their conviction? It would almost be impressive. Like, I would be impressed by that. The reason I'd be impressed is because the pressure is say anything to make any point because it's going to make the song more popular. Like, that's where the pressure lies. And so for me, I've chosen, and I'm open with talking about it because I don't shame other people for not doing it, for writing explicit lyrics into their songs. But for me, that's one thing I've chosen I'm never going to do. I'm never going to write songs with explicit content. And I believe if I keep working hard at this music thing, and if I were to become a top 100 artist, how special would that be to then go to my page, see that I'm in the top 100, one of the leading artists in the world, and what I represent is no profanity. And that's, once again, that's not to shame people who cuss. That's not to shame people who do write lyrics that have profanity in them. It's just saying, what if I was just a little bit different?
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool.
That the difference is for you, and you said you're talking about you, not other people, but the difference is for you is you're being true to yourself. It's not like you walk around swearing all the time. I've never heard you say a swear word before.
Right.
I see.
Except whenever I was a kid and asking if this was the cuss word that I had heard.
But it's like, you don't swear in anger. If you ever do mess up, you're quick to forgive. You're merciful towards people. If you ever are judgmental, you recognize it and you correct yourself. So it's like those values that are part of who you are, you express those in your music. And I think that's the difference in you and somebody else, is like part of that decision you're making is keeping you in your lane, keeping you. Yeah.
Stay in your lane. It's way more impressive to hit 12 pins than it is to hit 12 whenever there's 100 at the other end. And thank y'all so much for joining these conversations that we just had today, or this one conversation. I don't know. I feel like we had a lot of really great content. Thank you, Father Beard, for joining me today.
My pleasure. Anytime. Let's do it again.
Yeah, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna start doing this. We're gonna go ultimate Gary B. We started talking about Gary B in the beginning. We're ending it with Gary B again. We're gonna start.
Who does, by the way, use quite a bit of profanity?
Yes. We're gonna start doing.
I have a feeling he does that in normal life, though.
We're gonna do 12 of these a day. We're going to do so many of these that the internet gets mad at us because there's not enough hard drives.
I'm not going to do 12 of these a day.
No, we're going to do 12. I'm just kidding. But we're going to start doing these a lot more. Thank you guys for joining this. I hope we said something that enhanced your life or your day or whatever, and helped you realize, hey, it's cool to just be you. Peace out, fam. See you later.